I am most of the time.
Hey, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you live. It's Marshall Atkinson, and obviously this isn't Alan Howe with me today. This is, if you don't know her, this is a human dynamo called Christine Shreve with Christine Shreve Consulting, and I have the pleasure of having her guest host today because Alan can't make it. So thank you, Christine, for jumping in and being the co-pilots today for some awesomeness. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for asking me. I'm sorry that Alan can't be here to join us, but it's going to be a fun show. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about all kinds of great things. And but first, I want everybody to know that we need your help. So please, please, please comment. Tell us where you are, how you're watching. This is right now, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and I'm trying something new. I'm live on Twitter.
You can do that.
Just to see if this works, right? So,
I wasn't aware you could do that.
Well, I've got the magic, Christine. You know.
Wow.
It's called coffee. I've got it right here. So
well.
Yep. And so we're going to need your comments. We're going to need your questions. This is a Q&A show. And it's all about the engagement. So without your participation, it really doesn't work. It's just me and Christine talking, right? And
we're interesting, but you know, you're more interesting. So
yeah. I don't know about that.
Well, for the purposes of generating comments, we'll say they're more interesting.
Right. So we got a couple of people saying good morning. So let's acknowledge them real quick, and then we'll get into some topics. Okay.
Okay.
So Sean from Atlanta, Alpharetta to be exact, is here. So hey, Sean, how you doing? Richard says again, no Alan. Yes, no Alan.
Yeah, we're bummed by that too.
And Richard, are you still in Bangladesh? Curious minds want to know. Kisa's here from Texas, listening while we set up the trailer. I know you're so excited about your new trailer. Would love to see some pics. Did you ever get the thing wrapped? So please share. Oh, Dhaka, Bangladesh on Facebook. There you go. Hey, we're international today, Christine.
Woo! I feel very excited.
You know, we normally have, I'm sure Yosta is going to chime in here from Sweden. He's always here. I haven't seen him yet. So if you're here, please say hello from Uppsala, Sweden. So that's
I've seen him. He shows up on Eric's thing, the takeoff.
Yeah, right. Hold on. Kisa answered my question. Wrap is coming next week. Finalizing pictures this weekend. Great. Awesome.
Very cool.
Thanks, Kisa. So very excited for you with that. This is her big experiment. She's got a trailer. She's loading it with stuff, and she's going on site. So
fun.
Yeah, big time. So this is, and we're going to get into what we're doing in this industry. And here's the kind of our secret dirty word here, Christine, pivot. And Kisa is doing that right now with this. So I'm very proud for her, excited for her, this journey that she's on. So it's really good. Very cool. All right. So what have you been working on, Christine, lately? Let's get into that.
What have I been working on? Right now, I'm working on a couple of ebooks that I'm hoping to have done and for sale pretty soon. One is about embroidery stabilizers, and the other one is about social media. I'm capitalizing on some of the articles and stuff that I've written in the past and expanding on them, and you know, sharing a few. I don't really like saying embroidery stabilizer secrets, but sharing a few things that people maybe won't know that could be helpful.
Good. So remind me after the show, I have an app I used for my last book to put the ebook together, and it was beautiful. Easy. Oh,
great. I'd love to hear it because I'm looking right now to figure out what I want to use. Oh, Cindy's here. Yay.
Yeah, Cindy's here. Cindy's awesome. She watches some YouTube, and she's running her embroidery machines right now. So
yeah, Cindy shows up. She's a great supporter.
Good.
I love her.
All right, great. And so when do you think your first ebook will be ready?
I'm hoping within the next week to 2 weeks, depending on.
So it's right around the corner. So
it's right around the corner.
You'll have to share it with me, and I'll help.
Oh, I definitely will. I would appreciate that very much.
Yeah. I won't charge you much either. No, just kidding. So we've got some more people. So let's say hello, and then we'll jump into some topics. So Cindy says, talking about embroidery, needles are very important.
They are. She's not wrong.
Sharp needles. Dan's here he's another Michigander. Hey guys. Tanya's here. Good morning. And love y'all. Great. Thanks, Cindy. We love you too. So let's jump into some topics. And you ready for the first one?
Go for it.
So if you're watching right now, what do you think it's going to be? Leave a comment and see if you can guess. Somebody guess right now.
Somebody guess what they think the topic is.
What's the topic going to be?
I can't guess because I know.
You know, because we talked about it.
Yeah,
okay.
We did.
All right. Nope.
We have a plan.
There's some slow typers here, so we're just going to show it anyway. Holiday prep. You knew it was coming. Come on. Right?
Have to talk about it.
We're all thinking right now, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, holiday sales, all that kind of stuff. What are you doing? And so this is either what you're doing, I think, for a retail online store, or if you're in the contract world, what you're doing for your customers because they're busy selling. One of those two avenues I think is worth exploring here. And it's all digital this year. Who's going to the mall to buy anything, Christine? Are you? I'm not.
I think a lot of it's going to be digital, and one of the things that I always like to remind people when it comes to holiday prep is you always run into the people who are new and they think they should start thinking about Christmas in November.
Yes.
And it's like, no, you should have been thinking about Christmas like a month ago, or if not more.
To me, the best Christmas planning is in the summer, June and July.
Yeah. Right? Because you want to have your supplies ready. You want to make sure that you have a plan for marketing it. You want to, if you wait until November, you're way too late. But there's always the people that don't know that. So that's the first thing that I always like to say. Is
well, you have to help them, right? Have a plan for those people, right? And so this is what we can do. And if it doesn't fit, then, don't bend over backwards, and certainly make sure you charge for these late people, right? And
that too, definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Your emergency is not my emergency.
There's the customer side of it, and there's also just the business owner side of it, that business owners don't necessarily plan quickly enough either. So I think that can be a problem too, where it's like, oh, the holidays are coming, and you should have thought of that a couple months ago, people. But
so this is directly going to lead into something I want to throw out here today, which is e-commerce for holiday. Mm-hmm. So we've got two things. First off is in our Shirt Lab Tribe group, we've got a new Black Friday Cyber Monday video that's complete, but the thing is so huge, I'm having trouble uploading it. So I'm going to work that out today, and that'll be posted soon. So people that are in Tribe, you'll see that. And the other thing is that Shirt Lab Forge launched yesterday, which is Tom Round and I's new online virtual education thing that we're doing. And it's all going to be about e-commerce. And that's at shirtlabforge.com. And it's the best educator people in this industry and other industries sharing tips and tricks and stuff about SEO, about search, about print on demand, about how to sell on Facebook, on Amazon, on Shopify, on these different things. And we've got some of the best minds in the industry. We have the number one customer for Shopify who sells $100 million worth of t-shirts a year. They're doing a presentation for us, and frankly, I can't believe, Christine, we got these people to share their knowledge. It's
awesome.
It's amazing. So that's at shirtlabforge.com. So get signed up. If you're a member of Shirt Lab Tribe, it's 100% free. So
that's very cool.
That's advantages of being in our community. So just throw that out there real quick because it's commercial break time, I guess. So, but holiday here, I think it's really just understanding what people are wanting. And more than anything, I think people need to look at market differentiation, right? So are you trying to sell another ugly sweater? Are you going to be doing face masks? What are you offering that's going to be different than everybody else? And because you don't want to compete solely on price, right? You want to add more value. Look at bundles, look at different things that you can include, and the more unique you make it, I think the better sales you're going to have. And so come up with something different, you know?
Right. And also make sure that you're looking at for e-commerce, how's your website working? How is the flow of sales through the site? Right. What do your pictures look like? What is your text like? Shape all that stuff up, because people, I think you're right, Marshall, people are going to buy online much, much more than they probably ever have before this year.
Yeah. So if you're doing a screen printed holiday themed shirt, that's one thing. Are you in a screen printed holiday themed shirt that smells like peppermint?
There you go.
Are you doing something that's, you're doing an embroidery thing? That's one thing. Are you adding little jingle bells to it? Right. I mean, what are you doing that's going to separate you from every other schmo out there that's trying to sell something? Right. So, and then how are you getting eyeballs to your site? Those are two big questions right there. I think that you should have answered a couple months ago.
Yeah, you should have answered a while back, but
But right now, you need to be putting some serious thought and elbow grease into it, and I think that's going to really help you. So, but if you're looking for answers, at the end of this month, October 23rd and 4th is our Forge event, so that's going to help you out.
There you
go. Okay, so give us some questions on that. I mean, I see some comments here, and that's great, but what are you doing? What are you struggling with right now for your holiday prep? Social media, website, online stores, ideas, whatever. Like, let's throw some stuff out there and see if we can help you. Okay. So, get some stuff generated in the comments. So Christine, from your perspective, what do you think is the number one thing people are going to be looking for online? Do you have an idea or what maybe you're looking for?
Oh boy, number one thing people are looking for. The one thing I've seen that I thought was kind of interesting is I've been seeing a trend of people saying they're very much looking to support locally owned businesses. Yes. Or, smaller businesses. They don't want to buy from chains. They don't want to buy from, they want to buy from people who have maybe had a bit of an impact from COVID.
Yeah.
And I think that's which is wonderful if you're one of those businesses, but you need to be ready for it.
So why don't we do, as an industry, we had fabulous success with the Here for Good campaign. I'm sure you heard about that. Why don't we do the Here for Good Christmas edition, right?
So, it's an interesting idea.
Right. So you could do kind of the same thing and just flip it around a little bit with some holiday themed a look, right? So you're doing a little gift thing, or maybe you're supporting that business. And if you buy the shirt, you get a gift card or something where you're partnering with that local small business. And it's more than just a shirt. It's you're helping that business out. You're doing something there. And maybe that's a bar or a restaurant. And there is you buy the thing and you get, free pumpkin pie or something. I don't know. So it's like, what can you do? Right.
Yeah. There's something to be said for capitalizing on that trend. If it's out there, how can you become a part of it? Because if people are willing to give you their money and it makes them feel good to do it, then let's help them.
Yeah.
Let's help them do that. And, and I'm all for it, because I think a lot of small businesses have taken a hit. Yeah. A big hit. So, if we can perpetuate people wanting to support those small businesses, let's do it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think, but what I think a lot of people need to understand is that these people aren't going to call you.
Oh, yeah.
You need to be proactive, and you need to be calling people. So if you did a Here for Good campaign or something similarly named, right? Maybe you send an email or get on the phone and say, hey, we want to do a holiday version of this. How can we help you succeed during the holiday season? Right. And this is what our idea is this. We would like to do something and then kind of help them out and brainstorm a little bit because, you know, they have customers, they are wanting to do stuff. And the more you make it easy for them to align with what you're trying to do, I think that's going to be better results. But I don't think people just naturally call us, right? Our industry.
Oh,
we have to reach out to them. And the more proactive you are with that, I think that's going to lead to better sales.
Definitely reach out through just like actually reaching out or through social media. I mean, that's another thing I tell people a lot is if you have people who are talking to you on your page, be responsive, put things out there and interact with people. A lot of people use their social media as just like a bludgeon, you know, where they're just throwing their message out all the time, and you have to interact or it doesn't work.
Well, yeah, so. I was talking with a company about this yesterday, and they were like, what should I post on my social media? I'm like, well, what is your goal with social media? Are you just wanting to throw images out there? Are you actually wanting the engagement part, which is more successful? So they were like, well, that takes time, and I don't know if I want to do that. I'm like, okay, well, what have some clarity here. What is your expectation, right? Because you just post a pretty picture, that's not going to necessarily lead to sales, right?
Right.
And so the engagement is all in the direct messaging, the private messaging. It's sharing your customer's success. So if you've read Story Brand by Donald Miller, you know that our customers are the hero of the story. They don't care about what you do. They don't care that you're an embroiderer or a t-shirt or whatever. What they want to know is how you're going to solve their problems. So that small business, that bar, that restaurant, that cleaning service, whatever, you know, they have problems. How does what you do solve their problem right now? Because they need more sales. So understand that. And if you share that story about how you solved a similar customer's problem on social media, that's way more impactful than, hey, 2-for-1 sale. Okay. So people are very interested in what you do and how you can help them. And I think holiday sales are going to be all about that and how you can help other people succeed during this crazy time. And of course, we know we're going to have inventory problems. We're going to have shipping problems. We're going to have, I think this year, if you wait to December 20th to do Christmas shopping, that's a fail.
Yeah, you're going to be done.
How can we get people to do everything earlier? So, you know, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving, right? Maybe Black Friday starts November 1st. It's November is Black Friday.
Well, that already was a trend. So I'm guessing it'll be an even bigger trend this year because I've been seeing Black Friday start earlier and earlier every year. So, but I think the whole thing, what you were saying about people saying social media takes time, that's one of the biggest myths about social media that I hate is that you have to invest time. You have to be there day after day. You have to post. You have to build trust. You have to build community. And people are like, oh, it takes too long. Well,
what tools do you use, Christine? I'm curious.
I don't do a lot of automation, honestly. I'll schedule posts ahead a little bit every once in a while, but I tend to like immediacy. For me, that just works. But my biggest tool is just being there, replying, responding, you know, trying to keep in touch with people and build my community.
So it's not necessarily you posting, it's you jumping on somebody else's post and solving or answering a question.
Sometimes, yes. Or posing a question, or I think just connecting with people for me, that's what social media is making connections.
Right.
So,
yeah,
you know, so that's But I agree with you. I think inventory is going to be an issue. I'm already seeing that in the women in garment decoration group. People
Bam.
asking,
Cindy said inventory is a problem now.
Yeah. So I think inventory is going to be an issue. I know shipping is going to be an issue because shipping already is an issue.
Right.
So, be proactive and start solving those problems now before you can't solve them.
Right.
So,
and I would have some disclaimers. We're going to ship it by this date. After it leaves here, good luck. Don't let people know that the earlier they order, the better. But we make no guarantees about anything. And I think that's really important that you get that out there, because you've lost control once it leaves your building, and you don't need to be holding the bag on that, right? And
you may want to write some special holiday policies for shipping and other things, because, and certainly make sure that your holiday schedule is very clear on your website. This is when we can take stuff. This is when we can get it back to you, all that kind of stuff. Because the more that people don't have to talk to you to figure out what you can do for them, the better off you are.
Yep. Hey, so any more questions of that, please leave a comment. We'll get to them, but I want to go to our next topic. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what it is, Christine?
I'm trying to remember the order. Is this adapt or perish?
Nope. It's industry solidarity.
I couldn't remember the order.
That's okay. So industry solidarity. So this is really about coming together as a community and helping. And before we had our the show started today, Christine and I were chatting, and this is one of the things I think Christine is very passionate about. She's got a fabulous group. Why don't you talk about your group, Christine, and just let everybody, because probably Cindy's in there and other people here. So talk about what you do and what you're seeing out in the world.
In the world.
Out in the world.
The group is called Women in Garment Decoration, and it's on Facebook. It is women only.
I can't join?
Nope, sorry.
Dadgummit.
Well, when I started the group, I asked the women who originally were members if, did we want to be just women only? And they said, put the pink sign on the door that said, no boys allowed. So that's what I did. But we are, I don't even remember the membership count, but somewhere north of 700 right now.
Oh, that's great.
And growing every day. And a lot of really strong, smart women who are running businesses, who are really making a difference in the industry. A lot of names that people would know are members. Kelly DeFries, Marcia Derryberry, Allison Banholzer, and it's just a really great group, and we're a real source of support and education, and I'm very proud of it. Oh, well, thank you, Heather. Heather just said it's an amazing group.
There you go.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. Heather was one of the originals that joined us in the beginning. So
Heather's amazing.
Yes, Heather is amazing.
Mm-hmm. And Cindy says, Christine is great at getting people to post. She will put up a cute post, and we all love to respond to either a question or fun comment.
Well, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Women in Garment Decoration is just, I'm really proud of it. I just am really proud of what we've become. And obviously one of the goals is to be a source of support, because this is a rough time for a lot of people right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, just a place to go. And funnily enough, a lot of women have said, I love it that there's no men here, because this is the place I can go and my husband can't see it.
That's great.
So, it's really.
So it's like an industry sorority.
Oh, yeah, kind of.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Kind of. And it came out of the Women in Garment Decoration podcast that I do with the two regular guys. And it's just been growing, and I'm just really proud of it. Marshall liked the fuzzy bunny I put up today.
Good. Yeah, Marsha's great. We had her on here when she first started working for Action. So.
Yeah, Marcia is I want to get her on Women in Business at some point too. But every Friday I put up a little like celebrate your week post. And when I did the first one I ever did, I put up a cute animal picture for some reason. I don't even remember why. And that's been the tradition ever since. So now I have to find a cute animal to put with Friday post. So
yeah, great.
I don't know why, but it's kind of become a thing. So
yeah. So all right. So industry solidarity doesn't just go with women only, right? So this is the whole industry as a group, and I think it's just an amazing industry, and we talk about that a lot here with Alan and I and other people and you and what I really love about this industry is it's got a big tent mentality, and we welcome all comers and we'll help you, and it's not uncommon for competitors in the same city to, hey, I'm out of black ink, you got any? And they'll send them over, kind of a thing. And of course, that's not everyone, but I think it's the majority, right? And
I mean, I know just from when I started Christine Shreve Consulting, how many people, you among them, reached out to me and said, you know, hey, if you have questions, if you need help, if I can help you publicize anything. And that's ongoing. And it's been, you know, and I see that for anybody that's starting out. There's people who will say, if I can help you, or if I can give advice, or you see it in all the groups too. I mean, all the groups on Facebook, the embroidery groups, the screen printing groups. Right. It's amazing. I love it.
Right. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And the thing I think it separates us from other industries is that we're kind of a DIY industry. We build it ourselves. I think we have a lot of empathy for the struggles that we know that they're having, because a lot of people I've already done that. Let me show you how to do it. And regardless of what that point is. And I think that's really great. Although, let me tell you, there's a lot of posts where they're sharing wrong information sometimes.
Yes, which is
stuff that doesn't make any sense. And
you have to do your due diligence, definitely.
Yeah, so you got to be careful.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing that I think is interesting too is I think this is probably the first industry I've seen where people who don't help get a lot of negative pushback. If you find people who say, well, I'm not going to tell you that because I had to learn myself or whatever, you know, that's much more the outlying reaction than, which I think is great. I mean, I'm constantly impressed by how giving people are in this industry.
Right. Cool.
It's wonderful.
Oh, here's something from Cindy. Don't be too excited. Ha ha ha. All right, I won't be excited, Cindy. Thanks. So, anyway, so right now we're going through some struggle. Right, there's the pandemic, COVID. I know that a lot of shops have they're in bankruptcy, or they're out of business, or they are constantly just really struggling. And I know there's other side of that coin is we have people who've never been busier. I've talked to several of my coaching clients, and they're posting record sales for their whole business, not just for this year, but like in history, right? And right now, and it's because they've made some changes, and they're dominating their whatever they're doing. They're dominating right now. And because I think a lot of their competition has just kind of slunk away a little bit, and so they're gaining things because they have changed. They have changed. And do you agree with that? Do you see that similar with who you're talking with?
I think a lot of people, I mean, obviously this has been an ongoing process of adapting, because we've had this really long period where we didn't really know what was happening. So you know, I've seen that where people have had to pivot or had to drop something that they thought was going to be the next big thing because the market just isn't there for it right now.
Right.
And people reacting to losing business they relied on. I mean, you know, the lack of sports, there you go, adapt or perish. The lack of sports, the lack of restaurants, and bars and trade shows and all the things that people were accustomed to making goods for, they can't.
Right.
Because those events aren't happening, or they're happening in a truncated form or whatever it is. So, you know, you have to just roll with it.
Right. So I think right now, I think people are going to have to make some bets, right? You're going to have to bet that, and just look at historical data. Okay. This past year, look at 2019, I bought this much ink or this much thread or this much mini pelons or stabilizers or emulsion or whatever it was. And there's some suppliers, they're running out of product.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you look at garments, people are having a hard time finding a black t-shirt. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, our basic stuff is just evaporating, and it's because of the pandemic. So these companies have downsized, their suppliers have downsized. We have supply chain delivery issues where maybe they need a component to be able to make something, and now they're having trouble getting that, so they can't make the thing, even though we know we have sales. If we just get that thing here, we can make it. Mm-hmm. So it's a domino effect that's really gonna affect us. So if you're in a position where you know you need basic levels of supplies and you see that that's available, it's, to me, Christine, this could be almost an industry like toilet paper thing, like where somebody's going to buy up stuff just because they don't want to run out.
Well, right? And speaking from the standpoint of someone who used to be somebody who did the stocking for a supplier,
yeah,
it's tough to, I would not want to be doing that right now, because holy crap, it's got to be tough.
Yeah.
To try to get stuff and then to try to estimate what you're going to need. And I mean, you know, because when you order in a normal realm of things, you have a history to go on, and you can say, okay, well, our history says this, so we can do this. Can't do that now, because this is historically, this has never happened before.
Yeah. So what we could find, right? We build this huge engine for holiday, and now I can't get a red shirt.
Yeah.
Now I can't get white ink, or I can't get thread, or I can't get something because there's a run on it and it's not available through my normal supplier. So what I would suggest is having 2 and 3 and 4 suppliers, get these accounts set up now. So if your main person doesn't have what you need, you have the ability to order from somebody else, and that account is already set up, and it's just go, right? You don't have to go through all the machinations and hoops that you got to jump through, because sometimes they got to check on stuff or whatever before you can get an account, right? So just make sure you do that early, I think, and that's really going to help you. Use your network, right? So maybe there's somebody in your area that could recommend another supplier or another resource or whatever. And I see people posting in the groups right now, hey, I'm trying to find a black t-shirt and they're out. Who are you guys ordering from? And or maybe you have to switch styles. Normally you would use this, whatever that blank is. And if they're out, you might have to do an alternative brand. You need to be talking with your customers about, hey, the suppliers are weird right now, right? Just know that we're doing the best we can. We might have to pivot here on something.
Right.
And I think it's really going to be about the communication that we're doing. And we need to remain calm and look for answers, and not publicly whine about it, because it might not be that supplier's fault. Right. It's easy to cast the blame on somebody, but you know, they want to sell you stuff. It's not like they don't want to.
They can't get it.
Right? But there could be a problem, you know. So that distributor, they're not making the thing, right? They're relying on somebody else to make it, whatever it is, right? So
well, and I will say too, speaking as someone, as I said, who used to be on the supplier side of this, talk talk to your suppliers. If they can't get it for you, they may know somebody who has it, or they may have, because trust me, they're talking to their reps and the companies that are making the stuff to try to find out who has it or when they can get it or what, so they may have inside information. And most suppliers, if they're decent, will help you out if they can.
Right.
So because, they may not get the sale, but they'd still like to keep you as a customer. And if they can help you, they're more likely to do that.
Yeah. So if you're watching right now, what are you seeing? Are you seeing runs on a certain ink or shirt or whatever, right? Boxes. I don't know, right? Can you put something in the comment of what you're seeing? And then maybe if you've had a problem, what did you do to solve that, right? Did you use a different supplier? Did you go with a different SKU? Did you, reinvent something, adapt somehow to solve it? That would be really great. Cindy posts, when the holidays get here, it's already an issue with UPS deliveries, but now with everyone buying online, it's probably going to be horrible. All I want are my T-shirts delivered.
She's not wrong.
all I want is my 2 front teeth, right?
Yep.
So that's all we want. What do we want for Christmas is freight to work.
Yeah. All we want for Christmas is our stuff to get here in a timely manner and to get to our customers in a timely manner. But I think she has a very valid point. We already know, because we've already seen the warnings, that shipping could be an absolute word I'm not supposed to say, or word I won't say on camera for this holiday season. So, plan for that.
Right.
And it's adapt or perish, like we said. You can't operate like it's a normal holiday season.
Can you have customer pickup? Can you rent an enterprise van and deliver it yourself?
Right.
So it's not why can't I? It's how can you? Right? Just flip it. What do you need to do to solve the problem? Right. And, because are you only dealing with local customers or are you shipping out of state? I mean, I don't know what everybody here does. So how are you going to solve the problem? It's not UPS, it's FedEx. I mean, the Postal Service, I don't know who you guys are using. Get another account, right? Just experiment a little bit, right? Make sure your customers know what's going on and help them out, right?
That's a big point right there. Communicate with your customers. I mean, constantly communicate with your customers.
Right.
What's happening, what you're doing, what it all means. The more that you can put out there that they know, the more they're going to be willing to deal with things if there's an issue. If you just spring it on them, then you're screwed.
Yeah. Cindy says the big problem is larger size T-shirts. I just have to search all my different vendors. So here's a problem for Cindy, because I know she also
and it looks like
so she's having to deal with, instead of clicking and buying, she's having to do some search. So something that probably could have taken 10 or 15 minutes is now might take 30 minutes, right? So how does that work into her daily work schedule? So you might have to have more people to help you. So you have, because you're not, who wants to work 15 hours a day, right? So we might have to bring in some help to help us get everything accomplished. So just be thinking about that. And Daryl says, thank you for watching, Daryl. Good to see you. Large and extra large black, 100% cotton inventory issues. Yes.
Which doesn't surprise me, because that's a very common T-shirt.
Yeah.
A lot of people are selling those.
Well, you got to think that you maybe have to use a different brand.
Right.
And so you go from here's your primary brand. What's secondary? What's tertiary? What's the number 4 version of that after tertiary? You're like fourthary. I don't know what the word is, but what's your backup to the backup to the backup, right?
Fortunary, I think, is 4, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Anyway,
somebody with a dictionary, look that up.
Yeah, but there's also the whole problem too of, if you're switching brands, if you have your setup for the particular brands that you're used to using, your ink mixtures or your threads or your tensions or whatever it is, if you switch that up, then you have potentially a whole new set of parameters too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's a lot of fun things here.
And we need to be communicating to the customer, right? You can't just buy something that's not what they ordered and expect them to be happy with it.
Oh, yeah. You can't. No.
So Cindy here says 2 and 3X are big issue, right? So what if you did one brand and one style with small through extra large, but the larger version has to be with a different brand? The die lots, the cut, everything might be different. And that's the only way you can complete the order. Is your customer going to be okay with that, right? So this is really about getting in front of it, and maybe early at order entry when we're talking about the sale, this is when we're bringing it up, right? We're not like waiting till after we got the money and we're doing it. We have to let people know we're having these issues. This is what we're seeing. Not our fault. We're trying to make it work, that kind of thing.
Well, it was like I was just saying, communication is so key. You have to keep talking to your customers all the time about it.
Yeah. Color matching in t-shirts. Blacks don't always match. Yes. One black could be more of a gray or a bluish black or whatever, right?
Yep. Or just dye lots.
Exactly. Yep.
So there's a lot of them.
There are not many brands that have the 2 and 3X. That is a problem, especially with women cuts, right?
Oh yeah, and female cuts run small anyway.
Yeah, I don't know why these brands think women are all tiny.
Well, and I don't know why, even if you are tiny, you don't necessarily always want to wear something that small. So,
right.
I don't understand the theory behind that either, but.
Well, I'm a large person, so I'm 6'5", right? And I normally I've worn a 2X for as long as I can remember, but I'm having to start buying 3X shirts because the whole fashion world, right, thinks a 2X is some muscle-bound guy, and I like to drink beer and eat ice cream, and that doesn't look good on me, right? So sometimes I have to wear a 3X. Right. And so depending on the brand, and it's a big problem for me and in women, it's just everybody is, I think they just think everybody's a fashion model. Right. And
they think everybody wants to have really tight t-shirts and it's like, it isn't always that way.
Yeah. And don't get me started on airplane seats. So,
oh God, no.
All right. So for those of you watching, we'd still love more comments about what you're seeing with inventory. And then also, what are you doing with communication to your customers? How are you getting out the word that there's challenges right now? You got holiday coming up. How are you going to deal with that? We're very curious about that. And we can crowdsource the answers, but only if you engage. So, please leave your comment. Okay. Question from Cindy. I'm just talking about unisex t-shirts. Yes, women's shirts do run small. I have to wear my shirts touching my body, not a tent. Well, there you go. So everybody's got a different answer.
Yeah.
I like room.
Well, and don't even get me started on the whole issue of if you're a female and you're larger in the chestal region. That's an issue too sometimes, depending on, So I tried to say that delicately.
You did a good job with that. And I didn't have to say it. So there you go. All right. So ready for our last topic?
Let's go.
So it's in the news. Women in Screen Printing Awards.
Yeah, I thought this was very cool. I was very, very glad to see this.
Yeah, and so I'm on the advisory board for Screen Printing Magazine, and let me find the post. I know some of the winners. I just want to acknowledge everyone. I need to find my.
Well, I thought it was interesting. I like the diversity of where the people were. There was the one lady from Australia, and
right. Well, let me tell you, I voted for the award winners. And I cared less about where they were and more about what they did. And,
and granted, I also think from what I read about all of them that they were all extremely well qualified and, expert at the business that they do. But I just was really pleased to see the diversity.
Right.
And I think, I mean, first of all, just yay that there is a Women in Screen Printing Awards, because I think it's long overdue.
Right.
And I was really pleased to see these wonderful women getting recognition.
Yes.
So that made me really happy. And I'm
Right.
really excited that Ali Banholzer is going to be on Women in Business on the 14th. So
Yeah, you were
I was
telling me
like,
that.
hey, good timing.
So I wanted to, I found the link
Okay.
so I can share real quick and talk
Mhm.
over this. So if you haven't seen this, this is at Screen Printing Magazine. And full disclosure, I write a column for them every month. And I've actually written a column about women in leadership positions for the next issue. So excited about that coming out. But so here are the award winners is Ali Banholzer, who you just mentioned. And yesterday I had her on my Forward Progress show. So if you haven't seen that, it's on my YouTube channel. Check it out. I've known Ali for a couple of years now. She comes to all of our Shirt Lab events and she participates in Shirt Lab Tribe. And she's actually, Christine, I don't know if you know this, she's going to be speaking with you at the Shirt Lab Live Women's Nexus event in Chicago next year.
Oh, terrific.
Mm-hmm. So you're speaking at that, right? And so is Ali. So that's gonna be so anyways, and so that's Ali there. And then here's Tracy Johnson Aldworth with Trace's Screen Printing in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. And Jody Taylor with PSI Screen Printing in Australia. And I'm going to really mispronounce this, but I'll give it a shot.
Idea.
Ziongying Wrong, with professor at Cal Poly State at St. Louis Obispo, California, where Mark Coudray lives. So very interesting. I read her background and what she's doing, and it's just amazing. Val Solomon with Night Owls in Houston. And Dee Williams, founder of D Sweet Teas in Lake Worth, Florida. So these are the 6 winners, and huge congratulations to all of them. I'm so happy and for them. So I'm a guy, obviously, so you probably have a more interesting opinion on this than I have, just because of your background in gender and everything. So what do you think about this, Christine, this award and what it means to the industry and these women?
Well, I mean, I'm always of two minds about these things. There's part of me that goes, well, separating out the women. But then at the same time, I feel like women don't often get the recognition necessarily. And I also feel like there's a huge gap in our industry right now for role models for younger women who are coming up.
Yeah.
To be able to look to people and see, hey, these women are doing this thing, maybe I could do it.
Right.
And so in that sense, I love it. And I'm all for seeing women celebrated. That's really one of the reasons why the Women in Garment Decoration group started in the first place. Is no offense to all the male speakers and the great guys in the industry who are friends of mine, and I adore you all, but I'd like to see more women out there. And I'll be honest about that. I'd like to see more women in speaking roles. I'd like to see more women on the committees for things, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, I think doing something that spotlights women who are doing great things is wonderful. So I love it.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree with that. I wish we didn't need the award. Frankly, I look at everything from kind of a macro view, but I recognize the need to inspire and motivate other people to succeed. And just from a statistical standpoint, I did some research for the article that I wrote, and I was talking with you about this before the show. And there's only about, I forget the exact number, but it's about 38% of all the small businesses in the United States are women owned, right? Which is a huge disparity if you just think about it.
Right.
And so kind of what I'd love to see is more people starting a business, taking that risk, getting out on their own. And if an award can inspire somebody to say, you know what, she did it, I can do that too, then I think it's a worthwhile thing, right? And I know that's really what the thinking is behind this. So I think it's just a fantastic thing. And I love that it's not just the winners weren't just US. It's, you know, it's
I thought that, and diversity in you know, race too, which I think is wonderful, and that's another thing that we need to look at.
Sure, right.
And it's, I mean, the challenge that I always see is you have to find the people who are willing to put themselves out there to take the chance to do the work. And then they have to get recognized or seen. And getting seen is tough sometimes, especially if there's an established old guard, so to speak. Or if you're just, you know, I mean, we have this discussion in the Women in Garment Decoration group a lot, because one of the questions I ask quite frequently is, how do we get more women to be visible? How do we get more women into these places? And I had a discussion with all the trade shows last year about how do we get more women to be speakers, you know, and when you ask the question, the answers you get aren't necessarily what you think. Like, I didn't know with the trade shows that women weren't applying.
Yeah, well, I can tell you how I speak at the trade shows, Christine. How did that happen for me? I asked them to be a speaker, right? I just sent an email in, right? So it's like, it's not I don't think they bar people from doing it. I think that you just have to make a case. And they have a public call for entry, call for speaker thing that they do publicly. You just have to apply for it. And
that's the other half of it, is that you also have to, since we've had Women in Garment Decoration, I have seen more women start podcasts or do podcasts than I had prior to that. And a lot of that is me going, do it, you know. And I'm not taking credit for the women but, you know, I'm just saying, if the atmosphere and the opportunities are there, you will find people to take them up, but the opportunities have to be there.
Right. Well, well, it's one of these things where I think from a leadership standpoint, you know, do we have people who want to go up the food chain, so to speak, in their career, right? Do they want that? Are they given that opportunity? You know, so in your shop, if you look at who advances to the art director position or the production manager position or the shipping or embroidery or whatever, right? Are we picking from people who are really doing a good job and have leadership traits, right? Because somebody who really knows that job won't necessarily make a great manager, right? So, but are we giving them the tools to succeed? Are we giving them the opportunity? Are we even saying, hey, for my pool of candidates, I think she will make a great manager, and we're grooming them and giving them kind of what do you call it? We're pushing them a little bit, get stretch goals, right? That's the word I'm looking for. Are we giving them some projects to work on so they can like demonstrate that they're capable of a management role, right? And or are we just naturally always going to a guy, right? And so it's just one of these things. I would love everybody to kind of like look and take a hard look about what you do in your own business with thinking about somebody, because we always want to build our bench strength, because I know from running shops, people leave all the time because, you know, their spouse got another job, or there's a thing, or, you know, something happens to them and, you know, medically, and they can't work anymore or whatever. There's always reasons why we need more employees. And when a key member of our team leaves, we have to replace them. And is it next person up? Do we have somebody that's already trained for that role, where they did it as a part-time thing, or they gave them some opportunities? And from a management perspective, you know, we do some things a lot of times with overtime, where we come in on a Saturday where we have to stay late, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always use that as a manager in training kind of a thing where, hey, we're going to come in on a Saturday and I want you to manage the team for that 4 hours,
Right.
right? Instead of the real manager doing it, we have somebody, and that gives them the opportunity to turn off the alarm, make sure everybody's working, make sure they have what they need. And they're doing that manager role, even though they're not really a manager, right? And it gives them the opportunity, and then what happened? Did they do a good job with that? Was there problems? Did they solve them? That kind of stuff. And you kind of have an after action with that. And that gives them a little ability to become a leader within a company. And I think if women had, this is my personal take on it, if they had more leadership opportunities, I think that gives them the internal strength and moxie to go out on their own later. Because I don't think that, I think maybe one of the reasons why we don't see more women business owners is because they just don't have the confidence to start a business. And I think if you were from a manager role, I think that gives you kind of that little push that allows you to do it. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to think how to put this the right way. One of the things when I was doing research for the panel podcast I did a couple weeks ago, one of the things I saw was women don't have enough confidence to start businesses in that. And I don't disagree with that, but I think a lot of the reason that women don't have confidence is because, number one, they don't see role models. And you can think about that. If you own a business, how are you, like you said, how are you picking the people who are being managers? Are the females that work for you always seeing men being picked? You know, if you don't think you are going to ever have the chance, you're not going to try for it. If you don't see role models out there doing what you want to do, you're not going to push for it. Now, there will be women who will, certainly. But, you know, if you let it be known that you're open to having women in leadership roles, you want women in leadership roles. And, you know, then there's more of a likelihood that women will push for that. It's hard to go against the tide. But I think really lack of confidence is part of it. I see that, sure. I mean, there are a lot of people in the world that will tell women that their business is a hobby, that their business is cute, that they're cute because they want to have a business, which don't even get me started on the word cute. I want to punch everybody in the face when they say women are cute.
We know Christine's trigger word now.
Yes, not that I'm ever much called cute, but oh God. But well, it frustrates me because it's like you're an adult human being and there are people who will belittle you just because of your gender. And that's annoying.
Right.
So, but yeah. We could be here for another hour if you get me started. So
yeah, well, we're going to close up here in a couple of minutes. So, but you know, to me, I just think women need to take, as an industry, what I would like to see probably is more engagement, more what can we do? That's the whole reason why we're doing the Shirt Lab Women's Nexus next year, right? It should have been this year, right? Because of the zombie apocalypse, we had to move it, right? And that's the whole reason we started it, is because I see a need for it, because I don't have any real numbers, but I think there's probably about 25, maybe 30% of this industry is women owned or women leaders, right? That's a huge gap, right? I'd like to see more women take control and do some stuff. I want to give them an opportunity and to network and learn and grow and just build that confidence and do some stuff and hang out with, you know, their colleagues, right? That's the reason we did it. And we also, after all of our live events, we do surveys. This was one of the number one things. All of the women attendees put this down as what they would like to see. So it got lots of votes because we have a big number of women business owners that come to Shirt Lab.
Right.
And so that was like, okay, well, it looks like we really need to do something. So that's why we built it. Right. And so as an industry, I would love to see programs and training and things and whatever, right? Just, it doesn't have to be colored pink either. I mean, it's just about it. Like let's do something and help people out and assist folks. I think that would, because if you look at the origins of how small businesses operate, well, where do they start? They start from the kitchen table. They start, Christine, with dissatisfaction. They start with I don't like this. I'm going to do something about it.
Right. Sure.
Right. I'm going to start my own thing. I think I can do that. And it starts from the kitchen table, the garage, the basement, the outbuilding, the, whatever. That's where it starts. And so what are the tools, right? What do you think the tools that some women need to really just kind of like dip their toe in the pool and go, you know what? I think I can do that. What do you think would be like the top one or two things that they could need?
Wow, that's a really good question, I have to say. I think one of the tools that really helps is discussions like this one and panel podcasts like I did with two regular guys a couple weeks ago, groups like Women in Garment Decoration, places where people can go and learn and ask questions and feel supported. And, putting the issue out there. I mean, I would love to see more discussions about women's issues that feature both men and women. Mm-hmm. Because women's issues aren't necessarily women's issues; they're people issues. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Count me in if you're gonna do one. Sign me up.
That's on my list. Trust me, it's a long list, but I think the big thing is just to give women the support system. And like I said, groups like Women in Garment Decoration are part of the way to do that. But I'd like to see more panels on women in the industry at shows, or maybe women business owner specific classes, and also outreach to people who are, and how we do this, I don't necessarily know yet, but outreach to people who aren't yet a part of the industry, which maybe goes to the people that are running how to start a business seminars, or coaches like yourself, or things, or events like the Shirt Labs or the DAC shows, or ISS or whatever it is. So it's a big question, and I'm still working out the answer to that, honestly. And since I seem to have become sort of a crusader on this issue.
Well, you're the champion.
Apparently, which I'm fine with because I think it's important. So
good. It's good. So we got a couple comments, and then we're going to wrap up. We're slightly over our time, and I want to respect everybody's time. So let's turn this thing off. And let's get to Cindy's comment. She says, I'm new to all of this, I guess because I have a computer in my sewing room now. That's funny. But really, I just happened to find Sue Brown, and she was a guest on the Two Regular Guys, and it snowballed from there. Thanks, Cindy. That's very interesting. Heather says, my women employees outperform my men. I would agree with that. One of the things that I always enjoyed finding was a woman who really wanted to excel, and I would always put them into stretch goal positions. And I've got tons of stories about that. And
and that's another thing that really needs to be discussed at some point, is the fact that a lot of women who aspire to leadership get labeled as pushy or bitchy or
that's just how they handle it.
Aggressive. Well, I mean, there is a cultural perception that women who want to lead, and I've run into this because if you put me in a group, I'm going to run it.
Hey, I'm the same way, right?
So
come on. I was on a jury, and I was a jury foreman. I can't just sit there. I always have to.
No, if you put me in a group, I'm going to be like, let's go. Here we are.
So Daryl says, thanks for the program. Thanks, Daryl. Appreciate you, buddy. And then Marcia says, great show, Christine, ready when you are. So there you go.
Yeah, I got to talk to Marcia because I want to get her on Women in Business. So I got to.
So before we go, I want to share, if it's okay, your email, right?
Sure.
So if you've got any questions for Christine or you want to help out with all of her projects she's got going on, here's how you can get a hold of her. And if they email you, you'll answer them, right?
Of course I will.
Okay, good. Because sometimes
have I not spent this whole thing talking about communication?
Well, I just think some people are scared to reach out sometimes.
Sure.
That's why I always say that. And I love hearing from people. And so anyway.
Oh, I do too. And I mean, obviously, I wouldn't spend all the time I do doing what I do if I didn't care about making this industry better. Right. So,
and here's my email also if you want to get a hold of me. So I didn't make a banner for it, but shirtlabforge.com. Tickets are on sale right now. That's October 23rd and 24th. We have an amazing lineup of presentations. These are not interviews like we did with Shirt Lab Summit. These are real presentations with tactical knowledge you need for doing e-commerce. And check it out. You're absolutely going to be blown away by the people that are on there. I have no idea how Tom and I recruited these people. It's like planets aligned kind of a thing. So it's going to be great. And you're going to be hearing more about it. My blog tomorrow is going to have an in-depth of everything about it, as you probably could guess. That's what I'm going to be writing about. So you want to see what everybody's about. Who are these people? And why is Marshall so impressed by their pedigree? You'll know all about it by reading that tomorrow. So anyway, thank you so much for your time today, Christine. I really appreciate you. Yeah, it was great. We're going to have you on again. And,
yeah, it was fun.
Maybe next time we'll have Alan on here and we'll have a triple threat.
Yeah, I hope Alan's feeling better. I'm sorry that he wasn't able to be here today.
Yeah, it's okay. It's things are going around. So
they are.
All right. Well, hey, thank you everyone for watching. And if you're watching this as a recording, please, please, please leave a comment. We want to know that you watched. Ask a question. You can tag me. You can tag Christine. I'm sure that we'll help you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. My son Jack gets $1 for every person that subscribes to my YouTube page. So that's his bonus. And he's got the new version of Call of Duty in his sights right now. He's 16. That's what he wants to spend the money on. So help that kid out, will you? All right, guys. See ya. Have a fantastic weekend.
Bye.
Thank you. And Christine, I'm getting in the broadcast, so don't leave.
Okay.